Okay, the last part we talked about more for digestion, the whole digestive sort of act. We talked about the idea of mechanical and chemical digestion. Now, which is like the breaking down of your food into smaller parts. Now we're actually going to talk about the absorption aspect and then good old elimination. Um, so most of the nutrients from your food are absorbed through the walls of the small intestine, which we're going to look at. And then the large intestine absorbs most of the water and some vitamins and prepares your body for good old waste elimination. So when you're looking at absorption in the small intestine, the chyme now is um, nicely digested, full of rich mixture of small and like medium-sized nutrient molecules that are now ready that they can be absorbed. So they're at a small enough size now that they can be absorbed and pass through your the wall of your cell of your small intestine. So on your small intestine, so here's your small intestine. If you kind of look at it from a microscopic view, so here they kind of magnified, you have these little like finger-like projections called villi. Villi. So here's a villi. Well, these are plural. A vilum. So then both of these would be a villi. And then on each villi, you have these other finger-like projections, which are like smaller ones called microvilli. So the whole point of having villi and microvilli is to increase the amount of surface area of your small intestine. So I think I heard like if you took a person's small intestine and stretched out all the surface area it has, it can like be the size of a tennis court, which is huge. So within each villus, there's capillaries that connect to that are part of your circulatory system. So nutrients will go through the villus and into your circulatory system, so then those nutrients can be passed around throughout your whole body wherever it's needed. So small intestine, villi, very large surface area. So that's the kind of whole engineering of your small intestine to increase the amount of absorption. So the more surface area there is, the more absorption and the more efficient your absorption can be. By the time chyme is ready to leave the small intestine, complex organic molecules have been ingested and absorbed. So at this point, you pretty much only have water and cellulose left in your chyme, which are cellulose is an other undigestible substance, but cellulose is like that fiber part that makes up your plant-based material. As materials move from the small intestine to the large intestine, they actually pass the appendix. So here's your small intestine, it's entering the large intestine. So off the large intestine is your appendix, which is on your right side. So if you feel a very sharp pain on your right side, a very extreme sharp pain on your right side, that is a sign that possibly your appendix is swollen and possibly is going to erupt. So in some mammals, the appendix is actually used to break down cellulose, but we don't have that capability. So pretty much humans, we only notice it once again if it becomes infected and needs to be removed. Sometimes material gets stuck here, which stuck in the appendix that creates the infection that causes that severe pain and the need for it to be surgically removed. So that's how your appendix gets infected. You won't need to know that for the test, but just good to know as being a human. Alright, so now we're into the large intestine. So we absorbed all of our nutrients. Now what we just have left is undigestible material and water. Okay, so when chyme leaves the small intestine, it enters the large intestine. The large intestine is much shorter than the small intestine. And the reason why it's called the large intestine is because its diameter is much larger than the small intestine. So the whole point of your large intestine or your colon is to remove extra water from your undigested material. So you want to reabsorb that water that you have in that chyme that was not digested. So water is absorbed across the large intestine wall, and it leaves behind all the undigested like fiber, cellulose material. Actually, a cool thing in your large intestine is that you have a colony of helpful bacteria or known as a good flora, we call it a flora of bacteria, that actually helps you metabolize materials. It actually helps with your immune system as well. That's kind of more and more findings have been discovering that. So for example, if you've ever taken a large amount, if you've taken an antibiotic for some sort of infection you have, not only do you kill the bacteria that's causing infection, but you'll kill these helpful bacteria, because antibiotics can't tell the difference between your good bacteria and your bad bacteria. So that can lead to things like diarrhea, because again, some of these bacteria help keep everything in check in your colon. Also, vitamin K deficiency. So some of these bacteria are responsible for helping you metabolize vitamin K. So if you don't have those bacteria, you can actually be vitamin K deficient. But you'll see these bacteria if you probiotic bacteria. So like yogurt is full of probiotics, or kefir, which is like a liquidy yogurt kind of drink. But you kind of been seeing more than news for health about ingesting probiotics to help populate your colon with these helpful bacteria that help you metabolize food and help your immune system. All right, good old elimination. So once you are going through the colon, you extracted all this extra water. All that's left behind is everything that you could not digest. So for humans, mostly cellulose. So this is going to pass through the rectum and is eliminated through from the body through the anus. So that's why it's recommended to have a high fiber diet, is because it kind of cleans out your whole digestive system, and it kind of helps prevent colon cancer, because you have this kind of constant sweep of old cells and anything else that can lead to colon cancer, kind of helps sweep out your colon to prevent a higher rate of colon cancer. So having roughage, plant-based material in your diet is very helpful for yourself. Any sort of issues with elimination, so I'm sure, being human, we've probably dealt with all these before, but sometimes your large intestine is not able to absorb enough water out of your leftovers, so that's actually when diarrhea happens. So a lot of times when you're sick, your body wants to kind of flush out your system of the virus or the bacteria causing your illness, so your body will not want to absorb that water, so it'll in order to flush out the bacteria. So again, that's why you kind of see diarrhea a lot with like food poisoning. The opposite would be constipation. So when there's too much water absorbed from your undigested material, that's when you're constipated. Kind of a hard bowel movement there. So here's actually an x-ray of a person that's constipated. So this big, large, big thing of undigested material or feces that's ready to be eliminated, and that's going to cause some hurt there. So there we go. So drink lots of water to keep yourself constipated, and eat a high fiber diet to prevent this from happening. All right, enjoy. Bye.